Well, good afternoon. I am Dr. Helen Holton. Welcome to Win Win Women TV. I am your show host for this hour, and we're going to talk about strengths, resilience, and leadership today. We'll be here every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I like to give the Eastern time because that's the zone I'm in right now. So never know where in the world I may show up, and I will always try to tell you what the local time is where I am. So first, let me begin by thanking Win Win Women TV for the vision and the opportunity to create a platform that allows us to reach more than 4 billion women on the planet around the world. I am a member of the Communication and Connection channel that you're tuning into right now, hosted by the incomparable, the wonderful Norma Hollis. Thank you, Norma, for the invitation to participate in this endeavor. This channel really is focused on you. It begins with an exploration of yourself. It then expands to others in your world that you engage with and interact. And then it's about the universe. And we really are all connected by some form or fashion. And if you think about your life and what it takes you through, it becomes clearer that what you do impacts not only you, but others that you come in contact with, that you communicate with, that you coexist with. And so that's the channel, its main focus. And our goal as we move forward from week to week is always about giving you food for thought, something to think about, something to help you grow and be more of who you were really meant to be. Secondly, it's about communicating. I love communication. I love communicating. And when Norma shared with me what this channel was about, I said, yes, it's what I wake up every day more excited and more energized to do. And it's about doing. Learning only sinks in and has value when you take it and do something with it. Even the learnings that are unpleasant and uncomfortable still have value. And so it's an opportunity to stop and think about, what am I doing? How am I growing? How am I learning? I want to share with you today that what we're going to think about today is resilience. And why did I choose resilience to begin with? Yes, the show is called Strengths, Resilience, and Leadership. Because resilience is what keeps me going forward. Resilience is why I'm able to be here with you today. And though the word has been bandied around a lot lately, as in a global pandemic, it seems to be one of those hallmarks that are going to get us revved up and energized, not always instantly, but it'll take us to a place where we all get to be, to understand, and to focus in on what we're really about. And so what I want to do is, and yes, I'm having a little technical difficulty here. Let's see. What I want to do is be your resource for understanding how to move into your strengths, your resilience, and your leadership. I want to begin with, I'm a big person who plays on words. And for me, when I think about when I'm writing, when I'm preparing to speak, whatever, I always like to delve a little deeper into what do these words mean? How will I use them? Understanding the different elements of them. So my own definition of resilience, yes, there's tons of them in the dictionary, and in cyberspace and all those places we go to. But resilience for me is really the ability to rebound, to regroup, to reset, to bounce back from life's setbacks. And yes, you can do it. How do I know? Because I'm living proof of it. How do I know? Because I've researched and studied it for the past 20 years. How do I know? I know from people who I've helped to build resilience, leaders who were able to keep their leadership strong because of resilience. Yeah, it's important. So it's how you rebound, reset, regroup from life's setbacks. And what are those setbacks? The disasters, the distractions, the disruptions, the detours that we encounter in our life. From the microscopic ones that we don't really think about, we just pass over and they go to the wayside, to the ones that stop us dead in our tracks. I know someone here knows what that feels like and has been in that place. So yes, thank you for that, Janine. They're real. And if you don't have a plan, if you don't know how to confront them or deal with them, they can take you out. There are two ways to look at resilience. One is to look at it head on for what it is and recognize it and learn how to build it and do something about it. But that's not the natural way. And the natural way, by the way, we're not born to be resilient. We really aren't. It's something that we build and develop throughout our lives. And this came from lots of research and study. Where does it come from? Is it something that when we're born, we're resilient? No. The study of resilience really began in the study of children, with people who wanted to take a look at how is it that children who live through some of the most traumatic and devastating events of their lives, how do they keep going? How do they end up world Olympians, president of the United States? I don't know, all sorts of things. But it begins in childhood. And what psychologists and psychiatrists learned is that children find a way to maneuver through these things. And I'm one of those. My parents divorced when I was single digit in years, and I was devastated. I thought my world was going to end, but it didn't. Now, children aren't always able to tell you how they get through the difficult times in their life. Many adults can't tell you how they get through life's disruptions, detours, distractions, and disasters. It has something to do with being consciously aware, having a plan, thinking about how am I going to maneuver this? How am I going to get through? If you take a minute or a moment and think about something that you thought was just going to take you out of here, and you're still here, can you go back and remember that moment in time that made it possible for you to go forward, to know and do what you needed to do to keep pressing onward? Probably not. After interviewing quite a few people and working with clients, the one thing that comes through is when you get through that disaster, that disruption, the distraction or the detour, you're like, glad that's over with. Okay, let me get back on with my life. But when you take the time to stop and think about, how did that happen? It began with me by journaling, because some of my life's episodes, disasters, devastations, the only thing I could think to do to keep me sane was to write about it. So journaling is one way that people get over the hurdle of what's interrupting their reality. How else can you do it? So what I will tell you is this: resilience is not the end of who we are. Resilience, disasters, detours, and disruptions are not the end of who we are, especially if we get through them. And many times they often appear that they might very well be. I'm a girl that, okay, a woman, but still a girl, that lives life with the glass half full. What does that mean? It means that when I'm confronted with those derailers of my life, I've learned that there are always opportunities that help to bring out the best of who I am. And they can happen that way for you also. When you know how to set your mindset, and move in that direction. Let me tell you a story. And it's a story about disruptions, distractions, derailers, almost to the point at times I didn't know that I could really get through it. In my early 20s, mid 20s, I went to the doctor because I had a little bump on my arm. Then I had one on my lower arm, and I still have the scars from the biopsies. And I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is these bumps are popping up. I don't know what they mean, but we got to do something about them. I wasn't born with them, but they're here. I went to see my primary care physician, and he looked at them. He couldn't figure them out. He squeezed them, rubbed on. Oh, do they move? Well, let me send you to the dermatologist. Off to the dermatologist I went. And the dermatologist looks at me. Oh, I know exactly what that is. Paniculitis. What? Paniculitis. Fat nodules that were popping up under my skin and all over my body. After a couple biopsies, they got the diagnosis. So the two doctors put their heads together and decided, hey, we've got an idea. We're going to put you on a steroid. We're going to do shock therapy. Now, they tried several other protocols. Nothing worked. They kept popping up. We're going to do this with prednisone. We're going to, 10 days. That's all you have to take it. Can I tell you, in 10 days' time, I could hear my bones creaking when I walked and moved. I had a ravenous appetite. I gained 10 pounds. But the paniculitis went away. And I thought, wonderful. I can lose the 10 pounds. I don't hear my bones creaking anymore. So I must be good. A couple years later, I remember like it was yesterday. I was visiting my grandparents, and I got an attack in my hip. Oh my goodness, it was so severe, I couldn't walk. I was in an HMO at the time, if anyone knows what a health maintenance organization is about. And this was back in the 80s. To do anything outside of your primary care physician, it required a referral, an authorization, or something, just another layer of interruption before addressing the disruption. I call, hi, I've got a pain. I can't walk. Can I get authorization to go to the emergency room? No. Okay. Took a few Tylenol, cried myself to sleep on my grandmother's bed. I didn't know what was going on. When I woke up, the pain was gone as if it had never come. Then a couple years later, here it came again on Christmas Day. I'm like, okay, this isn't the first time, it's the second. Now, I was a gym junkie. I mean, I did aerobics. I did free weights, Nautilus. I mean, the whole nine. I was an organic vegan. I'm like at the top of my game living, And here it happened again on Christmas Day. I couldn't walk. My mom had to bring me crutches just so I could get home. And by the way, when I think about it, I couldn't drive my car. Someone drove me home. And I said, I don't know what's going on. So I'm here to tell you, I stand before you today, and oh, what a delight to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. After 7 hip surgeries, I'm still standing. I'm still walking. But going through in the early years of that, I didn't know what resilience was. I just knew I wanted my life to be back like it was. And it sent me on a quest to understand, how did I continue to accomplish things and achieve goals and move in my body? How? It was resilience. And so there's a real difference between unconscious resilience and conscious resilience. It makes a difference. How do you get through it? How do you get by it? It takes a lot. But most of all, it begins here. The power of the mind. The power of the mind. Think these things as if they are. Now, sounds simple, but it's not. I promise you that. I've cried a many a tears and fussed and cussed and did all those things because I did not want this reality for my life. I didn't want any parts of it, but it wasn't within my power to make it go away for good. It wasn't. Resilience as a child, I got through it. Resilience, the disaster of divorce. Yes, I got through it. My journey with my hips, the midpoint of my body. Now, for any of you out there that are faith people, I'm a woman of faith, yes. I remember reading in the Bible about Jacob, who wrestled with God in the middle of the night. And the story goes that God touched his hip and he walked the rest of his days with a limp because he challenged God, but he still walked. And whenever I hear that, I said, yeah, I get it. It's a reminder to be aware of what happens in life. So traumatic experiences, the disasters, the distractions, the derailers, all have a way of teaching us. It impacted my life unconsciously at first, but now I'm consciously aware of how to address those things that can curtail what I want for my life. Not so. I'm not having any of it. And I love being on this platform to be able to help other women understand that there's nothing so great that can happen to you as long as you have breath in your body that can derail the plan for your life, unless you allow it to. It's a choice. Sometimes you make the choice unconsciously, but when you make it a conscious choice, man, or I should say, woman, wow, is it powerful. Resilience saved my life. Resilience taught me how to live. It really did. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean by that, I came up with a way to always remember how resilience taught me how to live. And I took the word live because I always wanted to remember, what is it that I do that reminds me to live, which is more than just breathing air. It's about living. So when I think about live, the L, learn to love yourself. First and foremost, learn to love yourself because your life is a gift. Love it. If you don't love yourself, where's the capacity for other people to want to love you? Learn to laugh at yourself. Let me tell you, can have a hilarious, gut-wrenching, tears crying, laughing at myself. The missteps, the upsets, that sometimes I just have to say, okay, Helen, you did it. Have a good laugh. Besides, laughter is good medicine for the soul, body, mind, and spirit. I, inspiration. Now, be inspired by something greater than you, whether it's God, Allah, Buddha. I don't know. There are a lot of things out there that are equated with faith. For me, I'm inspired by God. Be inspired by a sunrise or a sunset. Yes, when I'm traveling, wow, there's nothing as glorious as the sun coming over the horizon, the colors and the hues to just shift your day, to start your day off, or a sunset with the many hues and colors. I mean, the kaleidoscope, as you notice the picture over my head behind me, always reminds me of the many ways that the light of day at the start of a day and at the end of the day makes a difference. At least it does for me. But think about those things that inspire and motivate you. Inspiration. Be inspired by something greater than yourself. V, value. Now, I'm going to say this: value every experience you have in life. The good, the not so good, the downright awful, and the indifferent. Why? Because they all have something to teach you that you can use somewhere in life, that helps you move to the next level, that helps you get over something. Value it. It has power. It really, really, really does. I promise you it does. E, engage your life authentically. Embrace being you. What I know is that even identical twins have independent minds of thought. Now, they may share some that they kind of telepathically or whatever agree on certain things, but they also have their own mind to think for themselves and think differently about what they want in their life. Embrace being you. Engage life with all you've got. When you think about the missed opportunities in life, if you're still living and breathing, guess what? You got time for a do-over. You've got time to try something new. Yes. I want you to think about what it means, not just living where you wake up and you, oh, okay, I'm breathing. It's another day. Okay, let's go get it. No, I want you to embody it. Be life, because you are life. And what you do touches another human being. It may be one, it may be millions. It just all depends on what your purpose, passion, and pursuit is in this life. Resilience saved my life, and it still does today, by the way. I will tell you the most interesting thing about hip surgery number 7. And every time I think about 7, I have a couple thoughts. One is like, please let that be the last of them. First thought. And then 7. Now, I'm not that much of a gambler, but if you go to the casino or whatever, you play, 7's like one of those numbers, that you can win. I guess sometimes you can lose with the 7 too, but it's one of those numbers. I guess that's a little piece of research I'll have to do, the significance of 7. But for me, hip surgery number 7, October 12th, 2015. Yes, I remember the date vividly, as if it were yesterday. I had no pain or discomfort going in. My surgeon said to me, to look at you, there's nothing for me to fix. And then he showed me a cast of what I look like on the inside. Some new thing he was doing to give patients a better sense of what needed to be done. Can I just tell you, it took my breath away. I was literally a walking time bomb waiting to explode. Yeah. Hip surgery number 7 was the granddaddy of them all. At that time, you never spent more than 4 days in the hospital. I came out of the hospital, still could not maneuver on my own. And for the first time in my life, I spent 3 weeks living in a rehab facility and not in my own home. An incredible learning experience. I cried a lot. I did PT to the utmost because I wanted to go home. Yeah. And I realized when I got home, I made it through that hurdle, and there were more to come. And I will tell you this, after hip surgery number 7, I've lived in pain every single day of my life. And I give thanks to it because it's a reminder of how special and how precious life is. So when you think about you don't have enough in the tank, or you don't have enough whatever, I want you to think about how much you have to be grateful for. And that there's always someone that has a story different from yours. I'm not going to say better or worse, but different. And it's not about their outcomes, it's about your outcome. And what are you doing to get the best outcome out of what's happening in your life? So I want you to think about these 2 questions. Are you aware, consciously aware, of what keeps you moving forward through the detours, distractions, disruptions, disappointments of your life? Give that some thought. Write about it. How consciously aware are you of it? Because see, when you're unconscious, it doesn't have the same effect. You're going to do whatever you have to do, and maybe you'll wallow in it an extra amount of time because you're not even aware that there's a way for you to move beyond it, unless you're consciously aware to it. And over this time, we'll talk about more ways in which you can build your resilience, and we'll talk about your strengths, and we'll talk about the impact of it to your leadership. Yeah, we're going to hit on all of that. Secondly, I want you to think about this. I'm asking you this, and I want you to ask yourself and have a real conversation. Do you have a plan for how to make lemonade when life throws you lemons? Yeah, that's a very real question to think about. And it is something you can think about in advance. What am I going to do? What am I going to grab hold on? Resilience is my lifeline. It can be yours too. I don't know. You may have something different. But it's the secret sauce to the success I've had in life. And in retrospect, if I go back to childhood, I can pinpoint and track those spaces and places in life where resilience made the difference. Yeah, truly. So do you have a plan for how to make lemonade when life throws you lemons? And I promise you, you don't have to live long to figure out, boom, another lemon. Let me get out my pitcher, squeeze those lemons, juice them up, put some sugar in it, and make some lemonade. It'll make a difference. As you sip that refreshing lemonade, it's like a do-over. It's like a fresh start. It's like, nope, I took those lemons you threw at me. Boss that ragged on me. Lover that left me for no good reason. Teacher that disrespected me. Family that doesn't appreciate me. Yeah, we all have those disappointments, those places in life that don't seem real. And we'll continue this conversation later. But today, I want to say thank you for joining today. do come back next week to learn, grow, and become your best self ever through your strengths, resilience, and leadership. So